Greetings, Palms parents. My name is Julie Yabumoto, and I'm the principal at Palms Accelerated Learning Academy. Today, I'd like to welcome you to Palms Online Parent Education. The topic for today is tips for successful virtual learning. Presenting today are Mr. Pena, our mental health professional, and Mr. Hell, our school counselor. Palms 3 B's are be safe, be respectful, and be responsible. Today's video will go over how to implement the 3 B's into virtual learning.
Thank you, Ms. Yabumoto, for that wonderful introduction. For you guys who do not know who I am, my name is Mr. Pena. I am the school mental health professional here at Palms Elementary School. This is my 3rd year at Palms and my 6th year with the district. And so today I wanted to go over our 3B expectations for online learning. For those of you that don't know, we have our 3B expectations that we teach all of our students. And I challenge you to ask your students what the 3Bs are. And about 95% of our students are going to be able to recite that for you. And what they are is to be safe, be respectful, and be responsible. So everywhere a student goes on campus, we have our 3Bs. Right? So whether it's in the classroom, the hallway, playground, or the bathroom, the students have these 3Bs expectations for each of these different settings. So on the playground, our 3B expectations would be, for be safe, we have keep hands and feet to yourself. For be respectful, we have play by the agreed upon rules. And for being responsible, we have putting the equipment back where you got it from when you are done playing with it. Those are just some examples that we have for the playground, but every area that the student interacts with is going to have those 3B expectations. So one of our teachers, Miss Nanez, she's an upper grade teacher, she created a 3B expectation for virtual learning, and that is what I'm going to go over with you guys today. So first we have our be safe. With be safe, we want to make sure that a student is eliminating distractions when they're on virtual learning. One way that you could eliminate distractions is by using headphones. So if your student has a set of headphones that they could use, that's going to help eliminate distractions from what's going on in the house, so they could focus on the screen and what their teacher and their classmates are saying. We know that when we're in our house, it's difficult, especially if we have multiple students, to keep them separated so that noise stays down. With the use of headphones, it helps the student being able just to focus on what is being said by the teacher, and it's going to eliminate that background noise. Next, we have your student set up with a wall behind them. As you can see here, I have a wall behind me with the bookshelf and a smaller shelf. And what this does is it helps to eliminate people from walking behind me. And if you could do the same thing at your house with your students, that's going to help to eliminate family members or pets walking behind them. And it's going to be less of a distraction for the teacher and their classmates. To let you know what the teacher sees on their screen, the teachers have a tile grid of all the students. And so whatever the camera on your student's computer projects, so it's going to be your student like you see me here, and whatever's behind me is what the teacher is going to see. So that's why we want to try to eliminate those background distractions, so the teacher and the other students only see your student. And likewise, if your student's focusing on the teacher, but then in another grid there's a kid who has a family member that walked by, it's going to distract them from paying attention to the teacher, and they're going to focus on that kid. So having a wall behind them is going to help eliminate those distractions that we might have at home. Next, for being safe, we want to make sure that we use technology appropriately. We're only using it for school apps to do our schoolwork. We're going on approved websites. And I know a lot of you are using your own personal devices for the virtual learning. So just making sure that your student is staying on those sites that they're supposed to during the school hours. But if they want to use it when they're not in school for whatever apps or sites that they use, that's completely fine. But during the time that they are in the live sessions, they only want to go on the websites that the teacher is asking them to go on. Lastly, we have let's keep food and drinks away from our devices for being safe. We don't want to spill any food or drinks on our device. It could damage them, and it could be very costly to repair those. Next, we have our be respectful. For Be Respectful during virtual learning, our first thing we have is select mute and unselect it when you are directed to by the teacher. So the reason why we want all of our students on mute is if you think of it as this way, even if your student's being quiet, if they don't have their microphone mute, the teacher has up to 30 students in their class. If that teacher has 30 students not on mute, and even if all those students are quiet and listening to her, all that background noise from those 30 different households is going to come through that screen and it's going to be interrupting the classroom and the teacher as well. So we want to make sure the students stay on mute until the teacher asks them to come off mute, then they could come off mute until they could talk with the teacher. And like I said, we know you guys are at home and there's some of you are working, you have other students that are attending school as well, and it can be very difficult to eliminate those background noises. So any little thing that we could do to help eliminate them is going to be to the benefit of your student and to the rest of the class as well. Next, we want to make sure that we have our video camera on at all times. This is a big one. I know with the pandemic, one of the things that we are lacking is that social interaction, right? We've been isolated for a while. We've been told to social distance. And so by having our cameras on, we're able to see our classmates, we're able to see our teachers, and it's going to help build that connection socially, even though we are not together. When we don't have our camera on, that disconnect is still there. So it just helps us to connect and helps to bring some kind of normalcy to the situation that we're in. I mean, one way to make sure our cameras stay on is have your kids get ready for school as if it was any other day if they were coming in person. Have them get up, get ready, log into their computer, get dressed for the day, comb their hair, brush their teeth, and then they're ready to go in front of the camera. And like I said, you could always find a blank wall if you're not comfortable with people seeing inside your house. So just find a blank wall and have the kids lean up against the wall. You could always do that. Nextly, for Be Respectful, we want to make sure we're using kind words. Right? We want to stay positive. We want to make sure that we are doing the best that we can to move forward with this virtual learning. We know that it's very challenging and we could get frustrated and get upset. But if we're able to use those kind words and just support each other and be positive, we're going to get through this together as a whole. And lastly, for virtual learning, we want to make sure that we are using our chat box appropriately. And what that means is when students are in the Google Meet, there's a chat box that they could ask questions to the teacher, or if the teacher wants them to respond, they could type out an answer in that chat box. But what students do sometimes, what we were told, is that they send messages to other students, or maybe they'll send emojis because they want to show it for the rest of the class to see. But we want to make sure that we're using those appropriately, right? That we're only using that chat box if the teacher is asking us to, or if we have a question for the teacher. Great. Next, we have Be Responsible, and this is our last 3B. And so our 3B expectation, Be Responsible for virtual learning, is going to be on time and ready to learn. This is a big one. So we want to make sure that our kids are getting up in the morning just as if they were going to school in person, have their breakfast, brush their teeth, comb their hair, get ready for the day, put their school clothes on. The exact same thing, and that they're ready to log in by 8:30 in the morning, and I believe it's 9:45 on Wednesdays. Another reason why we want to make sure that they're logging in on time is because there is technical issues that have come up. And if you think about it, our district has over 20,000 students. And if we're asking 20,000 students and teachers to log in at one time, so from time to time there is going to be technical issues that come up. So if we're logging in a few minutes beforehand, we're going to be able to see it. All right, I'm having trouble logging in today. Let me do a few other things to try to troubleshoot this so I could get logged in by 8:30. So if we have our students sitting down in front of the computer by like 8:15, 8:20, their computer's starting up, it's getting warmed up, you're getting into all their classrooms, their Google Classrooms, their emails, the apps that they have to have opened up. And then by like around 8:25, 8:27, they're trying to log into that Google Meet if the teacher has put the link up yet, and they can see if they're having any difficulties or not. And if they are, try troubleshooting it with different techniques that you may have. If not, you could always call the technical line if that's not working, and they could walk you through it. Or you could even call us at the school, we can walk you through it as well. But we want to make sure that we are logging in on time and ready to learn. Also, be responsible by making sure our device is fully charged, right? So maybe charging it overnight if we have to. We are asking you guys to use them a lot more, so that battery is going to drain fast. And if we don't have it charged up, it may shut off on us in the middle of class. So if it's not charged up, you notice you're at around 25, 30%, then go ahead, plug it into the wall, and plug it in your computer and have class while it's plugged in. So then you can make sure that it does stay on and that your student's able to do their work. Lastly, bring all materials. So we want to have our materials by us and that they are ready to go. So if a teacher calls on them, they could have their materials ready and ready to focus. Those are our 3 Bs for virtual learning. I hope you guys enjoyed them. If you have any questions, you could always reach me, Mr. Howell, or Mr. Yabumoto at the school. We are there to help you guys out. The big thing is we want you guys to know is that we're here for you. We know these are challenging times, and we want to get through this together, and we want to support you guys. One thing that I know for sure, students, they feed off us adults. And if we're having a difficult time with it, they're going to notice. So the more positive that we could be, the more positive they're going to look at this and have a more positive outlook as well. So next we have Miss Carrera. She is a 5th grade teacher, and she is going to discuss some things that she has seen in class and some tips on how students could be successful in virtual learning. And after Ms. Carrera, you'll have Mr. Howell, our school counselor, also talking about some tips for successful virtual learning.
Hello Palms family, this is Mrs. Carrera. I hope this video finds you well. I wanted to share some positive things I have noticed through distance learning. I've noticed how our kids are so resilient, how they're taking ownership of their own learning, how they continue to practice the 3 Bs of being safe, respectful, and responsible. And as a teacher, that is so amazing to see. I also wanted to share a couple of tips that might help your student continue to grow as a student and to become even more successful. If you could please make sure that they show up to their Google Meets on time, that they dress accordingly and have their video on, that they have a place where there's no distractions and have a table or a desk where they could do the work that will be assigned. But above all, if you can continue to communicate with your teachers, we want to hear from you. If you have any questions or concerns, we are a team. We're in this together. Thank you. Stay safe and healthy.
Well, thank you, parents. I'd like to give you a few tips for success and some things that we think might be helpful in online schooling. First of all, we want to thank you for your support. Thank you for encouraging your children to do their best, giving them a productive space in which to have their online schooling. Some of you are sitting in the same room or maybe helping some of your younger children. We want to encourage students and parents specifically to not give answers to the children, but lead them to discover the answers. So rather than telling the child 2 + 2 and a person might be on the side saying it's 4. Don't give them the answer. Encourage them to ask the teacher the question. Encourage them through a number of ways that they can ask questions through the chat box. They can also email, or they can raise their hand when they are in the classroom with the teacher at their home. So we want to encourage parents to don't give answers, lead them to the answers through questioning of the teacher. Also, everyone has a different setup at home. Some children have an individual room where they're doing their online schooling. Some students might be at the kitchen table. Some students might have more than one person in the same room. Whatever your work environment is, wherever your child is doing their work, make sure that it's most efficient so that they can be productive. And one thing that a student should have is a headset so they can block out some of the noises that might take place in a home. When I was a child, we had 6 children in our home. And that means that 6 children would have, at any given moment, been homeschooling together. So that can create a lot of noise and chatter. And that's why a headset is most convenient, so that all the noises the child can block out so they can really be focused on their individual learning. Also, their supplies might be helpful if they don't have a set place, is to have a backpack full of all of their supplies, and at the end of the day, they put all their supplies back into the backpack, and then tomorrow, the next day, that they can pull those out and they can have all their things together. Because it's very easy to have a notebook maybe left out or left on the kitchen table, and someone else moves it, and then some of their supplies might get lost. So we want students to stay as organized as possible. One of the most important things is that we have a positive attitude about what's happening. And we are a PBIS school, and we're trying to be positive about any and everything. And that if you see your child is having a difficulty, let's say they had 10 problems, but they only did 5. Don't focus on the 5 they didn't do. Focus on the 5 they did do, and then encourage them to even do more the next time. We want to focus on the positive so that we can build to more perfection versus saying, why didn't you do that? You knew. All that does is create stress within the child. It also creates stress within the parent or the guardian or the person that's there trying to supervise. So patience is a virtue, and we definitely need to have patience because all of us are new at this. The teachers, this is the first time that they've done online schooling to this degree, and parents, this is your first time, and students also. So we want to give ourselves patience and time to more perfect this way of educating our students. And finally, self-care. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself. If you are feeling stress, I can understand why. If you are feeling sort of not certain, I can understand why. So at the end of the day, you have to reduce your stress. And sometimes reducing your stress means going for a walk, taking the children for a walk in the neighborhood. Maybe they can get a healthy drink and that you all can go walking. You can go walk to the park and make sure you're staying social distance from other people outside of your family. Make sure that you're wearing your mask and doing all those things just to relax yourself, because staying in the house all day can be very stressful for everyone. So go to the park, sit in the park, take a blanket, eat your food in the park where it's safe, and then just enjoy the moment. Enjoy each other. Finally, with a helmet for your younger children, take a bike ride. Do something that's going to break up where you have been for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours in a day. I hope these tips for success has been helpful to you, and I want you to know that we're all in this together, and we're all going to do our best to make sure that we have success for your child and our students. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Howell, for those great tips on virtual learning. Parents, before we let you go for the day, I wanted to discuss the mental health resources we have available at the school or within the district. At the school level, individuals you could reach out to for information on the mental health services that we provide are the principal, Ms. Yabumoto, our school psychologist, Ms. Sabrina Collado, myself, Mr. Pena, the school mental health professional, or our behavior specialist, Mr. Howell. The district also has a mental health website with a bunch of resources on there for you to look through or to research for whatever it is you may need. If you don't feel comfortable talking with one of us initially, you could always let your student's teacher know, and they could relay the message to us, and we could get you guys headed in the right direction with whatever services you may need. We do know that with the pandemic, everyone's lives have changed, right? And we've seen changes in our students as well. Some of the behaviors that we see that we didn't see before. And for the most part, our families can talk with their students and process through these challenging times and work together to get through it. But there do come times when the help or the assistance from professionals is needed. And that's what we're here for. And that's what our district is pushing forward at this time. Is they want to let the families know that we have resources available and we have partnerships with different agencies within the community so we can make sure that we're supporting our families as best we can. So if you do ever have any questions about anything regarding mental health supports or services, please reach out to us. If we can't help you directly, we will we will lead you in the right direction with the agency that could help you out best. Again, we want to thank you guys for tuning in today and watching the video on the 3 B's in virtual learning expectations. We look forward to having a wonderful school year, whether it's virtually or on ground when we do come back. We're here to support you. We want to make sure that you guys feel comfortable coming to us with any questions you may have, because our top priority is making sure that all of our students reach their academic potential and that we're able to support them as best we can. Thank you.